Welcome back to another football podcast. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Arizona Wildcats football program. I believe that the Arizona Wildcats football program is quietly making something. You don't see a lot of things about Arizona, but they are building something, and they have built something in the transfer portal and in the 2022 high school recruiting class. In this video, I'm going to be talking about their 2021 record, their 2021 schedule, and about their position groups heading forward into next season. Then I'm going to do an overall about what I think about this team and them moving forward. In week 1 of the 2021 season, Arizona played BYU at Las Vegas. In this game, they lost by one possession. BYU ended the year at number 19 in the AP poll. In week 2, they played San Diego at home. They lost to San Diego State by 24 points. This was a bad loss. They gave up 271 yards on the ground. San Diego State did finish number 25th in the AP poll. In week 3, they had an awful loss to an FCS school. You can't have this. But they lost by 2 points. Both teams in this game had 3 turnovers, and Arizona allowed over 100 yards again to one player in the rushing game. In week 4, they competed with, at the time, number 3 Oregon. Oregon did finish number 22 in the AP poll. Arizona would have won this game if their quarterback did not throw 5 interceptions. In one game, he threw 5 picks. You can't have that, and as you will see, interceptions continue to be an issue throughout the season. In week 5, they lost to UCLA. Nothing really special happened in this game. Week 6, they were shut out by Colorado, 34-0. Week 7, they lost a close in a disappointing game against Washington. A Washington team that was really disappointing this year. Washington was expected to be in the top 25 finishing the season, but they barely won any games. They were super overrated going into the season, and they underperformed. In week 8, they lost by 1 score to USC. But they continued to allow too many yards on the ground. One USC running back ran for 204 yards. In week 9, this was their first and only win versus California. They still had 3 turnovers. All were interceptions. But the D did shut out Cal. They held them to 1 field goal, and that was their only points. In week 10, they lost to Utah. Utah did finish number 12 in the AP poll. They were a good team that competed with Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. In week 11, they were blown out by Washington State. They played their now quarterback, Jayden de Laura, who threw for 4 touchdowns in this game. But the run game was once again an issue for Arizona on defense. In their final game, they lost to their rival, Arizona State. All of the issues continued in this game. Overall, for their schedule, their quarterback was a huge liability, throwing a ton of interceptions. They had 5 quarterbacks throughout the course of the season, with a combined 18 interceptions. They threw more interceptions than they did touchdowns. Their run game defense was also a huge issue, and their secondary was not good either. Arizona returns a pair of starting running backs, their 2 leading rushers, Michael Wiley and Drake Anderson. Combined, they had a total of 1,087 yards rushing and receiving. This is not a very good number, but that is what expected from a one-win team, a team that went 1-11 in 2021 and didn't win a game in 2020. In the 2022 recruiting class, they bring in a four-star running back, Rayshon Luke, who is the 20th running back in his class. They may have talent at the running back position, but that does not matter if you do not have a solid offensive line blocking for them. You can bring up those 3 running backs that will contribute to the team next year, but if this offensive line doesn't improve, then it does not really matter. But I think they have improved. They were not good in 2021. They lost their best offensive lineman, Donovan Lai, to the transfer portal. They returned Jordan Morgan and Peyton Fears along with a lot of younger players. They brought in 4 offensive linemen in their 2022 recruiting class. They also picked up a transfer, offensive tackle, Jack Buford from New Mexico, and a 6'8" offensive tackle, Joe Borgen, from a junior college. I think with all of these new players coming in and your younger players getting more experience, more reps, their offensive line will definitely improve in 2022 from what they were in 2021, which was not very good. At wide receiver, they are losing a lot of talent. A lot of guys entered the portal, and they lost Stanley Berryhill and Tavion Cunningham to the NFL draft. Those are 2 huge contributors to your passing game. They also lose wide receiver B.J. Castile and Booby Curry to the portal. At wide receiver, though, they have picked up UTEP, Jacob Cowan. I think he was the best player on the UTEP team in 2021. He had 1,354 receiving yards last season. This is a huge pickup, and I cannot wait to see him and how he does in an Arizona uniform. At this position, they also bring in their highest-rated recruit by 24/7 Sports, Tetroa McMillan, who is the number 4 wide receiver in the 2022 class. Catching the ball, they will also return starting tight end Bryce Wolma and another 2022 recruit, tight end number 6 in his class, Keon Burrett. Quarterback was one of the positions Arizona struggled at most in 2021. All of their quarterbacks, just about all of them, have now entered the transfer portal, and they bring in Jaden DeLora, who is another Pac-12 quarterback from Washington State, who previously mentioned threw 4 touchdowns against Arizona in 2021. DeLora is one of the better quarterbacks in college football. He's definitely a top 40 quarterback out of the 300 Division I teams. I like him a lot, and I think he can do a lot at Arizona. The defensive line and run game was one of the worst parts of Arizona in 2021. They've lost a couple guys from that defensive line. Trayvon Mason went to the draft. Mohamed Diallo likely will go to the CFL. He was drafted last year, but decided to stay for one more year. They will return defensive tackle Kyon Bars, who led the team with 5 sacks. They have got to get more pressure on the quarterback. Having a lead stack player with only 5 is pitiful, especially in the Pac-12. In the portal, they were able to pick up USC edge Hunter Eagles, a former 4-star. They also picked up another former 4-star, Ty Savia from UCLA. Not only that, but they picked up 4 2022 defensive line recruits. They have done a lot to improve this defensive line from its 2021 form. And I think that would definitely help going into 2022 and beyond. Linebacker will likely be one of the weaker points for the Wildcats next season. they lose a lot of NFL level talent. Players like Anthony Pandy, who is going on to the NFL, will likely be an undrafted free agent, and Kenny Herbert. They were able to pick up Michigan linebacker Anthony Sullivan, a former four-star, in the transfer portal. In the class of 2022, they got four-star Sterling Lang, number 11, as you see in this photo. They're losing a lot here, bringing in new players. Young players will play. I think this is definitely one of the weaker parts of the Arizona team next year. In their secondary last year, they allowed the lowest completion percentage in the Pac-12, yet gave up the most touchdowns, 25, and the best quarterback rating. They lose a couple guys, but they have young, good talent, a lot of it. Players like Trayden Stukes that I think can develop and be a lot better going forward in this program. They also picked up UCLA safety DJ Warnell in 2022, high school recruit, four-star cornerback Ephesians Prysic. I think with these additions, it greatly upgrades their secondary. It's still not going to be one of the better secondaries in the Pac-12, but it's definitely upgraded and can be one of the more average to below average, hopefully above average secondaries in that conference. Now, I'm not saying in 2022 Arizona's going to win 8 or 9 games, but I think they will improve. They have a hard schedule next year. They play SEC opponent, a lot of good Pac-12 teams, and the best FCS school. But throughout this offseason, this early offseason, that they still have time to improve, they have upgraded their positions that they need. They upgraded through the portal, and they upgraded in the recruiting class. At this moment in time, they have the number 22 recruiting class for 2022 in the nation, which is amazing for this school. They have that great class coming in. I think this school will be like Arkansas. Arkansas had 2 consecutive 3-1 seasons and then jumped up to a 9-1 season. I think it's going to build up like that for Arizona. I think it'll be a couple years until big improvement, but 2022 just needs to show me some improvement. Obviously, they're going to win more than one game, I believe, but they need to show growth. I like Arizona a lot in 2022, and I think they will be solid. Hopefully, they can get to 500. That's going to be a hard task with this schedule, but I think they have a shot of doing it. 4 wins is what I think will happen, but who knows? I think in 2023 is when I expect big change. But the question from all of this good portal upgrades and the great class coming in is, can they build off that? And after they build off that and become successful for 1 season, maybe 2 seasons, can they build off that and become a successful program going forward beyond 2023 and be a program that people want to go to, want to play for, and can compete in the Pac-12, because they have not been lately. These are my thoughts on the Arizona football program.